Napoleon Bonaparte once said that an army marches on its stomach. He was right. He was also 2,000 years late, because Rome had already figured this out and built an entire empire around it. Here are the 6 systems that made the Roman military the most logistically advanced force in the ancient world. When a Roman legion entered new territory, the first thing it built wasn't a fortress, it built a road. Roman roads weren't packed earth, they were multi-layered engineering projects. Deep stone foundations, compacted gravel, a crowned surface that drained rainwater to the side, milestone markers every Roman mile. Over 85,000 kilometers of them eventually covered the empire. The military impact was decisive. During Caesar's campaign against the Helvetii in 58 BC, Roman legions used the road network to outmarch an enemy that should have had a head start, arriving at critical river crossings before the Helvetii could secure them. The war was effectively won by mobility before the first major battle was fought.
A road network only works if the army moving along it can be resupplied. Rome solved this with a grid of logistics stations. Every 10 kilometers stood a mutario, a relay point for changing horses and passing messages. Every 20 to 30 kilometers stood a mansio, a full rest station with food storage, accommodation, and repair workshops. These stations also powered the Cursus Publicus, Rome's imperial postal service, which moved official communications faster than anything until the 19th century. In the provinces, local populations maintained these stations as part of their tax obligations. The army traveled through a continuous supply chain it hadn't paid to build. Moving an army is one problem. Feeding it is another entirely. A single Roman legion needed roughly 4 tons of grain every day. Rome solved this through pre-positioned supply depots, horia, placed every 15 to 20 kilometers along campaign routes, stocked before the army moved. Soldiers never had to carry more than 3 days of food because the next supply point was always within reach. Water was managed with the same precision. Routes were planned around rivers and springs. In arid regions, dedicated water wagons accompanied the column, and advance scouts specifically tasked with finding water sources moved ahead of the main army. Trajan's Dacian campaigns showed this system at its peak. Before invading, Trajan spent years building roads and warehouses into Dacian territory. When the legions finally advanced, they moved at a speed that stunned the enemy, because everything they needed was already waiting.
The Roman army on the march had a precise structure that could shift from marching formation to battle formation within minutes. At the front, the primum agmen, scouts, cavalry, and engineers checking roads and preparing the knight's campsite before the main body arrived. In the middle, the legions themselves, organized by cohorts, maintaining strict spacing under officer supervision. Protected in the center, the impedimenta, supply wagons, medical equipment, engineering tools. At the rear, the novissimum agmen, experienced soldiers protecting the column from behind and collecting stragglers. At the end of each day's march, typically 20 to 30 kilometers, the army built a fortified camp from scratch. Every Roman marching camp followed an identical layout regardless of location. A trained legion could complete it in under 3 hours. Legions were Rome's heavy infantry, but the logistics system depended equally on auxiliary forces, the auxilia, recruited from conquered peoples across the empire. Auxiliary cavalry screened the flanks of marching columns. Auxiliary engineers built bridges and supply depots. Auxiliary infantry guarded supply routes, freeing legionaries for frontline combat. Syrian archers, Numidian cavalry, Balearic slingers, each brought specialized skills no purely Roman unit could match, and each played a specific logistical role in keeping the machine moving.
All of this would have been worthless without individual soldiers who could actually carry it. A Roman legionary on the march carried 20 to 30 kilograms. Armor worn on his body, shield, 2 javelins, 3 days of rations, cooking equipment, and personal items. His hobnailed sandals were engineered for grip across any terrain. His furca, the T-shaped carrying pole, distributed weight across his shoulders rather than his back. With this load, he marched 20 to 30 kilometers per day, every day, then built a fortified camp and remained ready to fight.
Modern military studies confirm this standard is roughly equivalent to what elite infantry units achieve today. Rome accomplished it 2,000 years ago through training, discipline, and a supply system so well designed that soldiers never carried more than they absolutely had to. Napoleon failed in Russia partly because his army outmarched its own supply chain. A Roman general would have recognized the mistake immediately. You don't advance faster than your logistics. You build the system first, then you advance. Subscribe to Marcus the Archivist for more on the systems that built and eventually broke the ancient world.